Hi friends, welcome to IAS in College Connect YouTube channel. In this videos, we are going to discuss about how to perform the deletion operations on the JSON server. In previous videos, we discussed about how to retrieve the students' details by using their ID. In this videos, we are going to see about how to delete the student's record by using the ID. Let's move to the implementation part. Table tag. Inside this table tag, I'm just going to add one more features, that is a delete button. Instead of anchor tag, I'm just going to use a delete button, TD. So delete. Okay, so delete. I'm just going to print delete. I'm going to check it on the output screen. Here you see we're having the delete. Now you see this two columns should be spanned together, right? Okay, so that I'm just going to do little bit changes in the th tag. Okay, so here I'm just going to write action. So this column should span two column together. Okay, two. Okay, so here you see. Now you see these two columns to be spanned together under the action column. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, so instead of this, I'm just going to write one button tag. So when the user is going to click the button, okay, so uh, it is going to call one particular method. That method is going to perform the deletion operations. Okay, so for that, I'm just going to write one button input type equal to text. Here I'm just going to write one click event. Okay, so when the user is going to click this particular button, it is going to call delete record method. Okay, so it is going to call the delete record method. Inside this, I'm just going to pass the values which we having on here. Okay, so here you see we having the s dot id, right? Okay, so that as a input, I'm going to pass it to this particular method. Okay, so s dot id. Okay, so done. Okay, so why it is throwing error means we need to create delete record method in the TypeScript file. Okay, so here you see I'm just going to create delete record. So this closing parenthesis for this search class. Okay, so here you see we having the closing parenthesis for the class is yellow color, that is ending on here. We need to create before that. Okay, so before that. Okay, so delete record. Inside this, I'm just going to pass ID as any data type. ID as any data type. Here I'm going to pass an alert message when the user is going to throw and click on that particular button. Okay, so I'm just going to pass ID as an argument. Okay, so here why we are having like this. Okay, so I give text, sorry. So I need to give button. Then value I need to give, right? Okay, so value I'm just going to the text values which we want to display it on the particular button. Okay, so delete. Okay, so now you see we got this button like this. When the user is going to click this delete button, it is going to throw that particular ID on the alert message. But now what we are going to do, we are going to receive the ID and we are going to pass the ID to the services class. Okay, so before that, we are going to write the method in the services class for performing the deletion operation. Okay, so I'm just going to write a method delete by ID. You can give any name. Okay, so it is not mandatory that we need to give like this. Okay, so here I'm just going to receive argument variable name. I'm give it as any. Here I'm just going to return type is going to be what? Observable of any. Observable of any. Okay, so inside this, I'm just going to write the return statement. Okay, so that is this dot HTTP call dot. Okay, so which operation we are going to perform? We are going to perform the delete operation. So the same way, how we are going to pass the values to this retrieve by ID method. Okay, so same argument type we need to pass. So that is we need to pass API endpoint along with this your argument. That is what we are receiving for this particular method. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make a call to this particular method. Okay, so how we are going to make a call to this particular method? By using the subscribe, right? Okay, so here you see I'm just going to make a call to this particular method. This method is present on the services class, so that first we need to access the services class. Okay, so already we injected the services class in the constructor. That is, SS is a type of what? Services, a network services class method. Network call service class. Okay, so SS is a type of network call services. Okay, so this dot SS dot which method we need to call? Delete by ID. Inside this, we need to pass the ID as an argument. It is a we need to call by using the subscribe. Okay, subscribe. Okay, so here inside this, I'm just going to pass a callback. Okay, so here inside this, I'm just going to receive some values, right? Okay, so D as an values I'm going to pass. Receive, sorry. I'm going to print the some alert messages. When it is success, I'm just going to print the message, delete, delete operation, deletion done successfully. Deletion done successfully. Okay, so done. So now I'm going to click one particular button. Okay, so now you see deletion done successfully, but here you see it is not showing the updated. Okay, so we need to click the refresh button, then only we can see the changes.
Now, instead of button, I'm just going to use the anchor tag. Okay, so here you see how to write the anchor tag for the deletion operations. Okay, so first for that, I'm just moving to the HTML file. Okay, so I'm just going to command this line. We don't want this button. We are going to navigate to this particular endpoint, that is view slash that is ID which we are passing. Okay, now you see when the user is going to click view slash some values, okay, so it need to navigate to the one particular component. For that, I'm going to write the routing. Okay, so here you see already we having the view. When the view is going to be given by the user on the URL endpoint, it is going to load the view component. Okay, so now you see we need to read the values. For that, I'm just going to use slash ID. Okay, so when the user is going to click this in your anchor tag, that is a view. Okay, so it is going to call view slash that should be followed by the ID which is the particular user is having. Okay, so that will be passed to the router. Okay, so here in the router we are going to mention the endpoint. Okay, so for view slash ID, which component need to call? It need to call view component and component. Okay, so now I'm just going to write the coding on the view component. Okay, so I need to first read the values which is present on the URL. So for that, we need to have two classes. One is activator routing, another one is router. So what is the purpose of activator router? The activator router is used to read the values which is present on the URL endpoint, and router is used for navigation purpose. So we are going to use both of them. Why? Because so previously when we are going to click the delete button, it is showing the alert messages, but it is staying on the same pages. Okay, so what we are doing now, okay, so when the user is going to click the delete button, okay, so it is going to refresh this page. Okay, so for that we are going to use router. And reading the values from the URL, we are going to use activator router. Okay, so a route, it is going to be what? Activator route. Okay. The another one which is going to be a private route. It is going to be what? Router. Okay, got it. Okay, so now you see we need to read the values from the URL. Okay, so on that value we need to store it somewhere. Okay, so that I'm just going to create one variable on here. Okay, so that is the variable name is ID value. Okay, so which is going to be string data type. I'm going to give this one is going to be what? String data type, because in ID we are having um, mm, both the string as well as number, right? Okay, so for that we are going to give it as a string. Okay, so now you see when this particular component is get loaded. Okay, so when the particular component is get loaded, so first I'm going to save one and check whether the result is, yeah, yes, it is replicating on here. Instead of v, we need to give delete. Okay, so here I'm just going to give delete. Now you see, now in the bottom left corner you will be fine. When I navigate to the different delete buttons, okay, so it is going to be show the different user IDs. So now we need to read those values when the user is going to click this. So for that, as I already told that, so we are going to use activator router for that purpose. Okay, so here you see what is the dependencies of activator router. It is a route. Okay, so here when this particular component is get loaded, ng on unit is get initiated, right? Okay, so here I'm going to call this dot okay a route. Okay, so and then I'm just going to use snapshot. Okay, so then I'm just going to read the parameter. Okay, so I'm going to use paramaps. Okay, so which value we are going to read? Okay, so which is present on the router. Okay, so what is the router where it is going to throw the values ID. Okay, so I'm just going to read the ID on here. Okay, so ID on here. Okay, right. Done. Okay, so we need to store those values on which variable ID value. Okay, so I'm just going to use this dot id value equal to, okay, so here I'm just going to use sorry, paramap dot get. Okay, so paramap dot get, that is the purpose why it is throwing an error. Now we need to typecast to the string data type. Okay, so which is which data type we mentioned, string, right? Okay, so we need to typecast it. Now you see we read it. Okay, so in case if the values is present, I'm just going to call the delete operation. For that, I'm just going to use if id, sorry, this dot id values. Okay, so this dot id values is present. Okay, so I'm just what I'm going to do, I'm just going to call this delete method. Okay, so here I'm going to pass the values. Okay, so I'm going to call the delete record method. I'm going to pass the values. Which value I'm going to pass? I'm going to pass ID values. Okay, so in case if the values is present on the endpoint, it is going to pass the values to the delete record. Why it is throwing error message means we need to access this by using this keyword. Okay, so this ID values also be accessed by using this keyword. Okay. Okay. So why? Because this all belongs to this class. Okay, so we need to access it by using this keyword. In case if the values is present, it is going to call the delete record. Okay, or else it is going to call the get data method. Okay, so now you see we are going to write the router. Okay, in case if the data is deleted successfully, we need to navigate to this view component. Okay, so this component is going to be show again. Okay, so for that I'm going to use that is a router dependency injection. Okay, so what is the dependencies injection values of this router? Route. Okay, so here I'm going to write. Okay, so this dot route. Okay, so inside this I'm just going to mention the endpoint. Okay, so sorry, this dot navigate. Okay, so navigate inside this I'm just going to mention the endpoint. What is the endpoint for this view component? Okay, so here you see what is the endpoint for the view component. It is view only, right? Okay, so I'm just going to mention navigate by URL. Here I'm going to mention inside this square bracket I'm going to mention the endpoint. Okay, so slash view. Okay, so this view is going to be called once the deletion is done successfully. Before that, I'm just going to throw an alert message. Okay, so deletion done successfully. In double quotes, I'm just going to mention deletion done successfully. That. Okay, so now you see we are going to execute this program. Now I'm just going to click the delete button. Here you see deletion done successfully as well as the data is replicated on here. Okay, so now you see that. Okay, so hope you understand how to implement this deletion operations on the JSON server. If you like this video, please share this video with your friends and please click the subscribe button and bell button. Thank you.